Hello guys. This is Aviation Lovers with Bonnie. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Yeah, today is another beautiful day, and welcome to this episode. So today I'm going to talk about the various aviation courses that you can do. Yeah, so working in aviation does not necessarily mean that you should only be a pilot, because that's always the thinking in many people. But you can always do various types of courses. Yeah, and you are working in aviation industry. Remember, aviation industry is multi-stakeholder and multidisciplinary, which means there are so many things to do inside there. Number one, you can be an aviation security officer. So there, for example of jobs that example of duties and responsibilities of an aviation security expert include: number one, screening of passengers. Yeah, taking part in security training and drills to ensure that there is the airport environment or the plane environment is secure. Yeah, screening the passengers' bags, luggages, using those UV lights, the X-ray lights, and etc. And metal detectors, everything. So metal detectors, they detect if you have if somebody, a potential terrorist, has a grenades or such weapons, unwanted weapons. Yeah, so those are the examples of duties and responsibilities of people who work as aviation security personnel. So there is also the aviation safety. So aviation security and safety are always interconnected, but there is a small difference. So safety is about aviation safety is about ensuring that operations are safe. There is an element of security there, but it is slightly different. For example, uh, those who work, if you are an aviation safety expert, you ensure that there is proper safety tools and equipment in an aeroplane. For example, fire extinguishers, and many other things. Yeah, so safety, you can see that safe. Okay, there is also safety. There's also safety safety, what do you call, inspectors, who inspects the airplane to ensure that everything is there. There is the fire alarm. There is the aeroplane is meets the standards, so it is safe for use. And also the runway, maybe it's so they have the responsibilities on the runway, in the what do you call, terminal area, and the aeroplane. So it's safety. Another thing about safety is ensuring that the aviation personnel are properly licensed. Although that's the role of licensing authority, but also it is for safety purposes, to ensure that these people are compliant and are capable to handle their duties. Yeah, so that because it is human factors is related to safety. If the human factor, there's an error in human factor, then it is not safe. So they carry out all those inspections, aeroplane, the human factors, the human elements of aviation, and everything. So that's also the safety part. There's also the pilot, of course, that flies an aeroplane. Yeah, that's number three role you can do. There is a aeroplane engineer, that's a aeronautical engineer. These people who repairs aeroplanes, puts together parts. An aeroplane, for instance, can be imported, maybe some parts. For example, helicopters. Most of helicopters are imported in parts, and then they can be fixed locally. So those are aeronautical engineers. Others also repair the aircrafts. Others, they just do maintenance, ensuring that the parts are optimally working. To like the servicing of aircrafts. Does not necessarily mean that the aircrafts are faulty, but they service it to ensure that they are still compliant. They are still operationally effective. Yeah, so those are aeronautical engineers. Of course, the purpose of engineers. It's like the just car engineers. You take your car there, they check up your car to ensure that they do the balancing and everything. They check the oil, they check the transmission and everything to ensure that it is still working. So the same applies to the aeroplane. Another role you can do is maybe air hostess. Yeah, that's the flight crew. Those people who take care of the welfare of the passengers on board. They serve meals and everything. Yeah, so those are the what do you call, flight crew, air hostesses, and those men. Yeah. So I always have this view that most air hostesses are ladies, but also they are men. Yeah, they are men. The flight crews, they are men. Yeah. Another role you can do is as in an aviation training organization, you can be a teacher of these people. You can be a flight instructor. in aviation. Remember, you trained as a pilot, but now you did not go up to the extent because there are different licenses. You can do private pilot license and then the commercial pilot license, the instrument and everything, and then or you can decide after private pilot license you do the instructor rating. So you become an instructor instead of continuing to fly for airlines commercially or private jets and everything. So you can just be a pilot and then you become an instructor. So you are a teacher. Yeah, so you work in an aviation training organization like a flying school. You're working in aviation sector. Another one is licensing officers, personnel. That is where you will work in regulatory framework of aviation. For example, in Kenya, for example, the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority. So there is the Uganda Civil Aviation Authority, South Africa Civil Aviation Authority. So those authorities, the representatives of ICAO in countries. So you remember ICAO is worldwide. So there is these regulatory frameworks of aviation in a country. Yeah, so you can always work in that as a regulator in licensing, ensuring that you are facilitate the licensing of aviation personnel, for pilots and everything. Yeah, so that will be your work, and also providing rules and regulations, maybe on flying on some particular airspace and everything. So you ensure that there is always safety, security, efficiency of airspace, and like the airspace is good for flight, and there is economical, and there is regular flights, regularity, ensuring regularity of vehicle flights, airspace and everything. Yeah. So you can also work as because I recently realized there is this thing about the course people who develop syllabus. They are called these people who curriculum developers. Yeah, curriculum development. So you can develop curriculum for, remember when aviation personnel are being trained, they follow certain curriculum. For example, certain hours of reading in class, theory and practical. So that's a curriculum developed by somebody. So you can actually be that somebody who is trained to develop curriculum for aviation trainees. Yeah, be it aviation security officers, be it pilots, be it and everything, be it inspectors and whatever. So you can be trained to become a curriculum developer. So you can develop curriculums. Same way, there is curriculum developers for high school books, high school material. So you can develop aviation related curriculum. Yeah, and you are working in aviation sector. So there is a very wide. There are so many things you can do. That's just to mention about a few. There is also this you can work as an aeronautical air traffic officer. You work in air control tower, like controlling traffic. Also, you can work in a radar. Remember, you can, and people, I recently come to learn that people who work in a radar, uh, those people who operate the radar signals and everything, and ensures that the radar is effective, those are telecommunication engineer. So as a telecommunication engineer, you can always work on the radar. Yeah, so ensuring that the radar is okay. You move from country to country. You are given assignments on going benchmarking and everything. So it's a very good work because I know somebody who works as a radar operator or technician. Yeah, so those are people who who trained as telecommunication engineers. So you work on the radar. So there is also aeronautical information officers. These are people who share aeronautical information. For example, the condition of a given flight space, if there is storms, how the route, the flight route is, sharing aviation weather information, like maybe tornadoes, there is rain, there is so much windy, and then it will inform how the pilot will operate in that particular airspace. Those are aeronautical information officers. Also called, they work in aeronautical information management department. Yeah. So you can also work as there are so many. Yeah, there are so many. You can also work. You can be a ground handling. You can do ground handling. For example, loading and unloading of cargo and passengers. So people who operate those cranes, those tractors that move in the airfield. Yeah, those machines that load and unload cargo in the aircrafts. That's ground handling. So that's where you will work for ground handling companies, and these companies are always leased or contracted by airlines to work for them in loading and unloading and everything. And also washing. Remember, aeroplanes must be washed, um, properly organized. So that's the work of a ground handling companies. And as a ground handler, you can do that. You can be an apron controller or a marshaller. So those are people who have these specific signs that show that, for example, you must have seen these people with reflectors on in the runways or airfields or the air side of the airports. When an aeroplane lands, they direct the airplane to park on a given spot. So they have these lights, like they do this, they do this, they do this, they do this. Those are marshallers or apron controllers. So you can work as a marshaller or apron controller, and it's a good job, pays well, and of course depends on the country you are in. I've realized that different countries pay differently based on their economies. For example, the payment you get in working in Europe, maybe in Germany or Netherlands, Norway, may not be the same as the one you get working in Canada, that's North America, or the Caribbean, maybe Mexico or Africa, or Australian continents, New Zealand, or Far East, Asia, China, Korea, or a few, Hong Kong. Yeah, so varies maybe based on the country's minimum scale of payment, economy. Yeah, because 1,000 shillings in Kenya cannot do the same thing as 1,000 shillings in US. 1,000 shillings in Kenya is less than 1,000 shillings in US because the US economy is higher. Things are more expensive, so payments are already different. Yeah, so that is just to mention about a view, and I hope I have touched upon so many crucial aspects. You can always work. There are so many things I've not touched upon, and you can go and maybe search on that online. If this information is always online, you can check. Ours is just to take you there, maybe bring invaluable resources here, and then you can go do more researches. So that is it. My name is Aviation Lovers with Pony. If you want to support this channel to produce more and more content, check in the description section. There is M-Pesa, there is Sendwave, there is what have you, there is PayPal and everything. So you can always support these productions, and I'll appreciate so much. So thank you so much, be blessed. I hope you have learned something. Bye bye.